Hi, kindergartners. Welcome to our how-to session today. You will be getting a sheet of 8.5 by 11 drawing paper today, a template for your cat that we kept seeing in our book, The House in the Night by illustrator Beth Cromes, and a pencil to start with. You're going to put your cat on your paper. You can either put him this way or this way. You get to pick today. And he can sit in the middle, or he can sit on the bottom, or she can sit up in the corner or down in this corner. Just make sure that your cat stays on the space. I'm going to put mine in the middle so I have a lot of space around my cat to color in, since we're talking about space today. I'm going to run my pencil just around the edge of my cat. I'm being very careful to hold my cat in the middle and not let my template move. That's super important, because if it moved, what would happen if I didn't hold it and it went, oops, uh-oh, it came off the line. What am I going to do? I'm just going to line it back up very carefully to cover the edges of those lines again. And I'm going to keep tracing my cat. You don't have to erase anything or start over. Now the tail's a little wiggly over here, so I'm going to hold the tail when I go around the tail. Oops, I went over my paper a little bit here. That's okay. I'm just going to go back around. Whoa, that's so tricky right there with that tail, isn't it? You might have a friend help you hold it too while you trace it. Oops, I went over the edge again. That's okay. I'm just going to go back and keep going. So I think I'm all the way around my cat. Oh, there. I am all the way around my cat. So the next step is going to be to grab a black marker, and we're going to trace around on our cat right on top of the pencil. See how slow I'm going? And sometimes I move my hand to get to a better area. If I go off the pencil a little bit, that's okay. I can go back in a few minutes with my eraser and erase the extra pencil that's showing. Oops, like right there I missed his paws a little bit. That happens sometimes, especially if I'm rushing. I should probably slow down a little, shouldn't I? There we go. So now I have my cat traced. And I'm going to go back with my pencil that has an eraser on it. And like this little spot here, I'm just going to erase that so it doesn't show. Do you see any other spots? Oh, I think there's one over here a little bit by the tail. Erase that little spot too. There we go. Now my cat's just like I want it. The next step is going to be to take my black marker and divide my space in the background into 5 sections. So now I have 2 sections. I have 1 and then 2. But that 2 is really big, so I'm going to keep dividing it up. Now I have 1, 2, 3. That 3 is still pretty big. Now how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 is really big. I'm going to divide this section. Oh, but I have to skip the tail. Now let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 sections now that I'm going to work with. And I'm going to start doing my patterns. We practiced our patterns a little bit ago on our dry erase boards. Let's use some of those patterns here. So maybe I had a zigzag pattern that I really liked. Oh, I'm going to skip my kitty. Pretend like I'm just going to go behind him. I don't want to go on top of my kitty. I want to cover him up. I worked really hard to put him on there. And then I'm going to repeat it. It's not a pattern unless I do a repeat, right? So now I'm going to repeat that pattern. And I still have more space in my box, so I'm going to repeat my pattern again. And one more time. I think I could even repeat my pattern a little bit down here, can't I? Right off the edge. Look at that. There we go. So now I have all that section filled in. Now I'm going to try one of my other patterns over here. I liked it earlier when we did that polka dot pattern. So I think I'm going to try the polka dots now. When our line was made out of the dots. Do you remember that one? I really liked that one. I'm going to try that. And when I get to the edge of my paper, I'm not going to write off my paper. I'm just stopping right there at the edge of my paper. You see how I do that? I'm drawing my circles nice and slow so they look like circles. They don't get wibbly wobbly and start looking like zeros. Oh, there we go. So now I have one section, two sections. Now I'm going to work on my third pattern section. I sort of like those wavy lines that somebody came up with earlier too. I'm going to do some of those wavy lines. And of course, it's not a pattern unless I repeat. So I'm going to repeat that waviness. Two thick wavy lines. Now I'm going to have three thick wavy lines. Four thick wavy lines, because when I color them in, they're going to be different colors, right? Five thick wavy lines. Wow, this is a really big section, isn't it? It takes a little bit of extra work to do. I'm going to do this one up here, fill in my space, repeat that pattern as much as I can. There we go. I think I have all of that space filled in. Now, let's see, what else did we do? Oh, somebody had that good idea of our kind of a zigzag pattern line, right? Where we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we turn it sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I have one more section down here to do, and I think for this section I'm just going to do stripes. So I'm going to turn it sideways and do my stripes. Now remember, I have to skip the kitty cat when I'm working around him. I don't want to draw on the kitty. I just want to draw around my kitty cat. Go. So now I have my kitty that I'm saving in my negative space. There's not going to be anything in my negative space. And we're going to go start filling in all around here with our black crayon, or our colored crayons today actually. So let's get the crayons in. So now when I color my background in, I'm just going to color in some of the space because we want that to be our positive space. And then the spaces we leave blank around it are going to be our negative spaces. Remember, I'm trying to color nice and neat in the same direction that my pattern's going, and I want to stay inside those black lines as much as I can. So I want to color nice and careful with my little coloring strokes. Remember we talked about that? Coloring close together, not letting that white show through when we're coloring. Trying to keep it nice and smooth. And doing our little strokes. So now I'm going to speed up the camera so you can see what this looks like. So now I have my positive and negative coloring spaces. I've left my negative no color spaces in my cat, in my zigzags, in my polka dots, on some of my weaving, some of my stripes. But over here I filled in both to show you all the positive space over here. There's all of the positive space here with color, positive with color here, positive with color here, and positive with color down here. You guys did a great job today. Now it's your turn to try this out.